Jina langu naitwa Wajali Kihara, mimi ni mmoja wa kufunzi katika chuo hiki cha Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies. Hapa ni mahali ambapo tunafunza kozi zile za mikono ama technical skills na technical courses kwa wale wote ambao hawajapata nafasi ya kuingia katika university, wanajiunga na sisi hapa. Tuko na courses kama vile engineering, tuko na courses kama fashion design, tuko na courses zingine ambazo ni za kushuka na kutengeneza makucha. Kwa hivyo hapa sana sana courses zote ni za watu ambao wanataka kupata technical skills. Na vile ambavyo tunajua sasa hivi industry tunaelekea upande wa technical skills, ndio iko na tunaelekea upande wa technical skills kwa sababu ndio ziko na demand ya juu sana. Ukiangalia kwa mfano nchi sasa hivi, kile ambacho tunajaribu kukuza ni industries, na industries inahitaji watu ambao wako na technical skills kuliko wale ambao wako na theory. Kwa hivyo hiyo ndio tunafanya hapa. Kwa sasa hivi tunafanya expansion kubwa ya madarasa, our workshops, pamoja na kuongeza hata na idadi ya walimu ama wale trainers, kwa sababu tunatarajia kuna wengi ambao wamekuwa wakikuja kuulizia kosi hizo, watakuwa wanajiunga na sisi baada ya kukosa nafasi ya kuingia katika university kupitia ile ambao ni body ambao huwa inawapeleka katika universities. Mwanafunzi yeyote ambaye huwa anaanzia masomo yake katika technical institution anakuwa na advantage moja kubwa sana, kwa sababu anaweza kuendeleza masomo yake. Na wakati ambapo anaingia hapa, anaanzia na zile technical courses, kutrain mambo ya kutengeneza vitu mbalimbali. Kama ni kushona, anajua kushona. Kama ni mambo ya engineering, anajua pale kujenga. Kama ni mambo ya media, anajua kuedit. Akitoka hapa ingia katika degree, atakuwa na nafasi nzuri zaidi hata kuwapiku wengine ambao wako katika darasa moja, kwa sababu tayari yako na technical courses alafu anaendeleza na degree pale. Wengi wameweza kupitia hizo daraja na hata kuishia kukua wakufunzi. Najua wengi ambao sasa hivi ni wakufunzi baada ya kuanzia artisan, diploma na kuendelea hata degree.
My name is Patrick Moi. I'm the head of IT and business development at Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies. We have had a dream for the longest time possible. I think starting the year 2018. With the able leadership of our director and the principal, we started envisioning how can we be able to benefit the less privileged, the women and the youth in the community. For us to be able to do that, we needed the support, and that support could only come by us making a step forward and looking for funds. So that is when we started the journey of grant application. And of course, a grant application is a very tedious process, but then we had the resilience, because that's a dream that we had, and you know, when you have a dream, you have to simply persevere. So we got lucky. When we applied for our first grant, we got the grant, but then the grant was not sufficient enough last year, so it only enabled us to be able to acquire a bit of equipment. We didn't stop there, so we applied again for another grant, this time allowed with World Bank. So the funding is coming from World Bank, but of course through the Ministry of ICT in Kenya. We did the application. Of course, it's a process where you do the application, you do the presentation, you do the pitching, and then finally you go and then they shortlist you. We started a very huge group of 290 institutions, but then towards the end, only in our category, only for managed. So first of all, is a huge step and a huge milestone for us. Now going forward, is that we have been able to secure the grant, and the project is supposed to be starting this month. And this funding, to be very specific and precise, we want to spend that money in the community, to do community outreach, to run programs. And these programs, first of all, we want to focus on women. So in the entire program, 70% will be women. Because sometimes, you know, there are challenges with women. Sometimes they want to go to school, sometimes they want to go, but then they have so much responsibilities to an extent. Sometimes it's not possible to go to a formal school where now they will be spending the entire day in school. Number two, there are challenges sometimes with the finances. So out of the whole category of 90 students, 70% of that number must be women. The second category that we are targeting is the youth. And these youths, you know, sometimes someone is very bright, someone has a dream, someone wants to pursue a certain course, but then there is limitation in terms of financing. So we also targeting that number of youth so that they come in here physically and then we start training them. Now the other question is, what is it that we want to train them? We want to train them in a model of education where first of all it is 100% skills oriented, so that now when it is skill oriented, once the training is over, the student is able to either get a job directly or they are able to start their own small businesses. Now in terms of training, we want to focus on a number of areas, to be very specific, 5. We want to train in digital marketing, we want to train in cyber security, we want to train in IoT, we want to train in web development, and for every irrespective or regardless of what you select, we have to add value to those courses. Therefore, we also want to train anybody who comes through the program on entrepreneurship, very targeted, so that now we equip them on how are you able to, after the program, how do you sustain the business that you start. And we also want to encourage them to learn a lot of communication skills. So let's say an example, you pick digital marketing. You have to do digital marketing, you'll also do communication skills, and you'll also do a bit of entrepreneurship. After the program is over, because it's supposed to be taking around 4 months, we want to transition these students to another setup, because you know a normal setup of a school is you train and then you let them go. But now this one is a bit different, because after the training we'll transition them to incubation, where now they are able to be taken through the process of entrepreneurship. There is simulation, there is everything, there is a bit. We even train them on how do you actually look for the funding to start your business. And then another group will transition to something that we call BPO. BPO is a business process outsourcing, because already they have a skill. So instead of telling them go out there and look for a job, we want to tell them you transition to the BPO. We give you the computer, we give you internet, we give you everything that you need, so that now towards the end of the day you can only now move out of the BPO after you have enough or sufficient resources to actually procure your own computer. That way we are able to change the story of that students all the way from training and transition them through incubation all the way to actually procuring a computer. That way the student will not train and go back to the same stage that they were. So that is basically an overview of the whole project, and we are hoping that as many people will apply. We are also encouraging people with a disability. I've talked about the youth, I've also talked about women. So as a program, it will be a very intensive, very managed, to make sure that within the 4 months of training, the student is able to get 100% benefit. Yes. Yeah. True. Thank you for that question. Ideally, whenever you are dealing with the World Bank, it's a very inclusive project. So first of all, we are not limited in terms of the location. We want to reach as many people as possible, as many tribes as possible. And the question of how, we are going to release an application form where everybody is encouraged to apply. But then there will be a bit of shortlisting, where someone will come, do a bit of very short interview, and then we are able to select 90 best, so that sometimes you need to look for someone with ambitions, so that we ideally what we would want to do is to match a student who has an ambition, a student who has a challenge in fees, then we match them with an opportunity, so that we don't again have a situation where you have an opportunity but then it lands in the wrong hands. So we want to make sure that whoever gets the opportunity is, first of all, the process is very inclusive. We publish it as much as possible, but then when they come in here, we want to pick someone who has an ambition, so that now what they have been looking for or waiting for is an opportunity. So that is the route we are taking. Yes. Thank you for that question. I think last year is when we started a journey, because the School of ICT, of course, like you know, is it evolves so much. You find that what was so relevant yesterday, today is no longer relevant. And I'll give you an example, if you can allow me. 2 years ago, for you to do a graphic design, you needed to get a graphic designer, you needed to pay him a lot of money. But the same thing, today you can create the same graphic design within a click of a second. meaning that now with AI, it means that there is a lot of evolution. So for us to be able to keep that speed and to be able to equip our students with the right technology, what we did is that we were able to identify that we need to introduce high-tech training. But then this high-tech training, in our current education system, sometimes a student only realize that they want to do IT or something, computer science, after they have done Form 4. Therefore, sometimes even by the time they start that computer science and finishing, they still have not been able to grasp the content. So what we've done is we have come up with a program, the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and we want to start it from a very young age, where we want to take a kid who is 3 years old and then we start training them, introducing them to STEM, science, education, science, engineering, technology, and mathematics, and sometimes a bit of engineering, but then with a lot of orientation towards engineering and technology. So the moment now they start that journey at an age of 4 years, we work with them all the way to 16 years, and then after 16 years, now we are able to transition them to the Innovation Hub. So far, so good. We started the program. We did a very good launch early this year, and we have been able to do at least 2 boot camps, which the parents received so well. To an extent, now we are moving on because of the demand that we are having. We just have to now start even in classes. We want to start going to schools. We partner with the schools so that we now start offering even that STEM in the school setup. So if you look at it as a pipeline, where we are starting at a very young age at the STEM center, the kid can grow all the way to now transitioning to the Innovation Hub, where we are seated today, and then they are able to do the whole journey to the end. So I think it's something that the parents are understanding, and the few people who had no idea, who had no clue, we have taken a lot of time to actually educate them, including going to parents meeting. Sometimes when they are barazas, we just show up there, we train them so that even the parent themselves understand, because we surely understand that at that tender age, the parent plays a huge role in making a decision on what course or what programs will the kid enroll. So we are looking at it from 2 August, going through the schools and also doing a lot of sensitization to the parents. Yes.
So besides this, do you have a place where you hold these young students or these young people so that they can pursue such?
Sure. Of course, we have a center that we are calling Africa Tech Space STEM Center, which is located at Naka. When you go to Naka, just around Naka Primary School, there's a fancy getaway, and we are located just next to there. Normally what is happening there, right now we are running weekend programs, that is Saturday and Sunday, where now we enroll kids, or it doesn't matter the age, because there's something that we want to everybody to be able to get into, where they run a lot of robotics, they run a lot of coding, basically to make sure that by the time this kid gets to the 10 years, or to let's talk about 15 years, if it's consistent, by the time they are 17 years, the knowledge they have is almost equivalent to someone who is in computer science. So what does that mean? When they go to the university, this person will basically not go and start from scratch. They are going there to advance and now do exploits, including now actually development of those robots. That is our vision. We have made the first step. You know, sometimes it's basically stepping out of the crowd. We have done that, and we are hopeful in the next one or 2 months, the center will be full already to the brim. Yes.